when I've kind of said yes to more than I could handle, I'm always just super burnt out after the fact.
Yeah.
We always say this, and we love the idea of living life to its fullest. We always say, like, let's just live life to the fullest, like YOLO. And we want to say yes to everything. But you know, it comes to a point where it's like, at what cost?
Hey y'all. Welcome back to yet another episode of QR Quoted.
I'm Queen.
I'm Raquel, and we're happy to be here once again. So today's episode is a good one and relatable one, especially as the warmer months are upon us and life only seems to be getting busier. We're going to be talking about JOMO. What is it? Do we experience it? And let's discuss the concept or the idea, like, very briefly right now.
Maybe you've never heard of it before.
Yeah, maybe you don't know what JOMO is. So JOMO is the joy of missing out, the direct opposite of FOMO, which is the fear of missing out.
And something you might be a little bit more familiar with.
Yes. And I personally love that we're talking about this now during summer because I feel like everyone's doing something right now. And there's events, there's graduations, there's vacations, there's all the things.
All the things we don't want to miss out on.
Yep. And all the things are just piling up, right? And where we live, we don't get enough of those sunny, warm days. So usually I, along with I'm sure you and really anybody, is just really excited and pumped to fit all the things in your schedule and just get out and enjoy the time while you can. And I always feel like I should be doing something because I don't get to have a sunny night or something all the time, you know? So I always want to make the most of my days, most of my nights. However, more often than not, I am working or I'm doing some stuff for school or I'm just home doing nothing at all. And I actually saw this very funny reel or post on Instagram. I forgot what it was. And it said, it's officially, how did this person afford this trip to Europe month? Because you're seeing all these people post, like, all the vacations, all the flamboyant or, I don't know, extravagant trips to Europe. And you're just like, what the heck? Like, I'm just sitting here in my living room. Like, how does this person end up in Europe, right? And it made me laugh because would I love to be on a trip to Europe? Yes. Can I afford it right now? No. So although I'm clearly experiencing FOMO from those people in Europe, you know, posting all these great things, I'm reminding myself that currently I'm meant to be in my house. I'm meant to be on my couch or wherever and just embracing the light that time of my life has to offer for me.
I saw that reel too. It was funny.
Yeah.
I laughed at it too. This seamlessly leads us into our quote, which is, sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't have to do what everyone else is doing. So, we're going to break down FOMO. What is FOMO and why do we experience it? So as you said, FOMO is the fear of missing out, something that we all experience. Psych Central defines FOMO as the anxiety or apprehension surrounding missing out on things like social events, gatherings, or the latest gossip or news. Experiencing FOMO may make you feel like you aren't as connected to the latest happenings and norms of society as you would like to be or should be. For me personally, to avoid FOMO in the past, I have overloaded my schedule with social events and said yes to everything. That always leads to fatigue, stress, and major burnout. Because it's not like we're living like a life that's just, you know, relaxing and then, you know, a couple social events a week. We're on the go all the time. And so, like, by the end of the week, I'm burnt out. And then comes all these social events that I have agreed to. Yeah. And, like, that requires energy, too. So, when I've kind of said yes to more than I could handle, I'm always just super burnt out after the fact.
Yeah.
We always say this, and we love the idea of living life to its fullest. We always say, like, let's just live life to the fullest, like YOLO. And we want to say yes to everything. But you know, it comes to a point where it's like, at what cost? Yeah. So I could just feel like a shell of a person. Because once you're burnt out, you can do everything in the world. You can say yes to everything. But then you end up just being there and you're there physically, but you aren't there. You're not present in that, social event you have agreed to. And, with social media these days, because we are constantly very much aware of what everyone is up to, we're constantly experiencing the fear of missing out. I think social media plays a big role in this. It heightens those feelings and it amplifies them to the max. I ask myself sometimes, do I really want to go to this social gathering? Do I have the capacity to be fully present and enjoy it? No. But then when everyone is there and posting about having a great time, I'm going to feel left out in some way. That's FOMO. And I think that if in the absence of social media, you wouldn't really experience it as much, because it would just be like an initial thought like, oh, well, what if it's just like this amazing experience and everyone there has a good time? And it ends there because there's nothing else to like
confirm that theory.
Yeah. But with social media, again, it's amplifying it. It's heightening that like that feeling of missing out.
Yeah.
And I go through this countless of times. It's normal. But we have to think about how to avoid that and how to turn that fear into something else.
Social media is interesting because it could confirm that they're having a good time, but it could also not, because all you're seeing is that snippet of it, right?
True.
Like, you don't even know. What if the event didn't turn out to be so fun? What if it wasn't actually all that? And maybe you're better off actually missing out from it. But you obviously, like, you don't know that.
Yeah.
And so in the moment, of course, you're just like, oh, man, like, maybe I should have been there. Maybe I wish I could have been there, etc. So it's a battle. It's a tough, like, thing to gauge almost with social media, because you don't know. Unless you do. Unless
What's funny? Now I'm thinking of like the opposite, where social media has like kind of like reassured me in my decision.
Sure. Yeah.
I think of like this
I know what
specific example of a party once. There was this party that I was encouraged to go to, and I was like, I just can't. Like, I'm not, like, I've had a rough week. I just want to stay home. It was a Saturday night. And then it was like all the posts were just kind of like confirming that like I made the right decision, because there were just so many people there, and it was kind of a hot mess, and I was just like, wow, I made the right choice. So I guess sometimes it works to our favor.
Yeah.
So now that we've broken down FOMO and how we experience it, let's talk about JOMO.
Yeah. Let's talk about specifically the idea of saying no. So intentionally experiencing JOMO. So when I say no to certain things, it makes me feel empowered sometimes and confident, knowing that I know what's good for me and what isn't. I know what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And when I say no, I don't mean it with an ill intent. I'm perfectly okay with sitting this event in question out.
Yeah, I like that you bring in empowerment. It takes a lot for us to say no. And that comes from different places. It comes from not wanting to disappoint others, because you said, like, you don't mean it with ill intent. Like, most times, like, you don't want to disappoint the person you're saying no to. You genuinely, like, you want to say yes to them. You want to be there for them. But there are other reasons why you're ready to miss out. You're okay to find joy in missing out. So yeah, it can come from not wanting to disappoint others, not wanting to feel left out. But when you choose to be intentional with your time, you give yourself permission to say no. It's time to refuel, recharge, and choose to take care of yourself, so that maybe when the next opportunity or social gathering comes around, you'll actually enjoy it and get something out of it. And then I think about like JOMO, experiencing the joy of missing out with social media. And a lot of this is your mindset. So yes, let's say you say no to going to a party and you don't want to feel the FOMO. So as a result, you should probably put your phone away, stay off social media for the evening. But also, I strongly believe that a lot of it is just the power you give social media and the confidence you have in the decisions you make. You chose to sit out this function for the reasons X, Y, and Z. Trust in those reasons. Don't doubt that you made the right choice.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like just being confident in why you're making the decisions you're making. Like, it's okay. Like, trust yourself. Don't regret your choices. Yeah.
Don't give in to people like saying, if you say no and then someone's saying like, but why not? Come on, like life's too short, or come on, you can do it, like you're fine, etc., etc. Like, you know you more than anyone else does. And if you don't want to go somewhere, you don't want to put yourself in that position, you don't want to have to deal with something, trust that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you're going to be the one who's like dealing with it at the end of the day. If you listen to that person and you go, did they win? Sure, maybe, but to them it's whatever. You're going to be the one who has to like deal with the aftermath of it. You're going to have to deal with whatever comes moving forward from that event. I have a kind of applicable example to this very recently that I will get into in a minute, but I do want to touch on one thing that you mentioned about putting your phone away. I love that idea, although it's sometimes kind of hard.
Yeah, it is.
Eventually, I feel like you get to a point where you say no to an event. Maybe if you see on social media, you'll be like, okay, like it's fine. Or in your case, like you said, like you saw it on social media and you were like, oh, I'm glad I didn't even go, But
or this person who you're not the biggest fan of was there.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, thank goodness I didn't go.
Yeah, they dodged a bullet there, right? Yeah. But if you're gonna like be on your phone and you're gonna just like sit and kind of stalk social media and just, kind of isolate yourself down that path, then you're gonna put yourself in line to experience FOMO.
Yeah.
And it defeats the whole purpose of that.
Yeah.
So go on social media if you really wanted to, but also like don't, because then you're gonna have a better night for yourself.
Yeah. Don't seek out the content from whatever you said no to.
Yeah, exactly. So on to my story.
Story time.
So very recently, as we're recording this past weekend, Taylor Swift was in town.
I think she said today's the last show.
Her last show is today, actually, yeah. So I was offered to go to her concert.
The Eras Tour.
Yeah, with a group. My family offered me to go. And I initially said no. And I know I'm going to get...
How dare you?
I'm going to get all the hates from the Swifties. I'm sorry, okay? Like, I'm just giving you guys an example, okay?
She knows what people went through to get
tickets. I know very personally, a very good friend of mine struggled, but she made it, so
she made it.
You go, girl. But I know the great extreme lengths that people went through to even just, like, get in the arena.
Even if they're in the, like, nosebleeds of the nosebleeds.
Literally, like, people were like in the parking lot outside the stadium, like trying to listen to her. Like, trust me, I understand. I've been there. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, but when it came down to me personally, I'm not her biggest fan, and I don't listen really to her music, and I don't vibe with her, honestly. Like, I'm just being very upfront and honest. Did I, like, watch clips of her performances? Yes. Do I agree that she's a great performer? Yes. Like, it seemed like a great show. I'm not denying that. But it just wasn't in line with, like, how I wanted to spend my Saturday night. I didn't want to go. First, I honestly didn't even feel like I should be there if I don't like her as much, one. But two, like, I just didn't want to deal with, like, the whole process of going to a concert, because it's a lengthy process. Yeah. Getting ready, getting to the stadium. Traffic in Chicago is not it.
Yeah, Soldier Field too.
Soldier Field is also huge, not it. Yeah, and it's literally like at the end of the city, like parking, and then like dealing with the concert, and then coming back home late, going through traffic again, getting out of the arena. Like, I don't want to put myself through that. I don't want to go through it. So I honestly, like, I kept saying no. And I got asked again, like, but why not? Like, it's going to be so much fun. Like, you're going to have a good time. Like, go have fun, enjoy your night.
You're going to regret not going.
Exactly. And initially I was like, man, like I know her concert's gonna be so much fun, and I know like if I say no, I'm gonna miss out on that. And I was a little scared of experiencing FOMO. Like,
yeah, I was gonna ask you,
like,
were you worried that you would experience FOMO?
Yeah, I really was for a minute, but then I was like, I don't want to go, so I'm gonna keep saying no. And I felt good about it because I knew in my heart that I didn't want to go. So I honestly, like, I just stayed home.
Yeah.
I hung out with my mom.
That's how you fostered JOMO?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a great night.
Yeah.
So
it's just what you needed it to be.
Yeah. Like, literally, like, no complaints about it.
There you go.
And I'm sure everyone who went had a great time. And
Seemed like it.
Yeah, and it, you know, like, good for them.
Unlike Raquel, I experienced some FOMO.
Did you?
I saw TikTok.
You wanted to be there?
I wouldn't say I wanted to be there.
Okay.
But if I could, like, teleport and just, like, magically end up there without going through the whole process of, like, getting there and, like, the process of leaving and, like, avoid crowds.
So basically, like, avoid almost
everything. Just, like, be able to jam out to the song because I do enjoy her music.
Okay.
Yeah, then I would love to be there. But, like, so I experienced some FOMO. But I wasn't feeling well last night, so I went to bed at 8:30 p.m. And
when Taylor Swift came on stage.
Literally.
Yeah.
So I experienced FOMO while you fostered JOMO. And I think one way to foster it is to kind of plan out what you will do. And I'm not saying, like, sit there and, like, hey, I've said no to going to this party and I'm going to make a list of, like, what I'm going to do instead. Something I would do. But I'm not saying that's what you should do. But let's say you do say no to some type of social function. Be intentional about the time you have prioritized for yourself. Let's use this party example again. So true JOMO, I feel like, is saying, you know, instead of giving in. Instead of giving in and going to this party, I'm going to stay in, bake some cookies, maybe read, or, like, if I just want to sit around and just catch up on my favorite TV show, that's fine, right? Fill my time with the things that, like, I'm craving, that I need, like, that my body needs. If I've been, like, running around nonstop Monday through Friday, Saturday I probably just need to be a couch potato because I need to recharge. I need to recover. I have a whole nother week of work coming up. Plan out your me time. That structure will bring you joy, because without the structure, if you're kind of just, like, sitting around, then you can kind of make your way to social media and seek out stories and posts from the event. And that's how FOMO creeps in and makes its way into your mind, into your emotions. And, you know, this whole time I've been thinking about getting older. And with age, I've really realized that it's hard for me to, like, pretend when I am somewhere I don't want to be. It's really, really hard for me to say yes to something that I'm not feeling 100%. And I know it's not realistic. You're not always going to want to do something 100% of the time, right?
You're not going to get 100%
there are social obligations
out of stuff too.
But these days it's like I'm not going to say yes to some type of social thing if I know that if I'm there the whole time, I'm going to be exhausted and bitter about being there and just not giving off the energy I want to give off, because that's not fair to the people who have put in effort to plan something. So, I mean, like, I get that it's not always, you don't always have that kind of freedom to just say no, because you have responsibilities, you have obligations. But I think with age, you realize that time is valuable. Time is very precious, and there's just not enough of it. And you have to strike a balance between work, life, play, and all of the things, and rest too. Because without rest, you can't work, you can't play, you can't, be the best version of yourself. And so I think I'm okay with the finding joy in missing out the older I get. Because it's also like you lose this fear of being left out.
Yeah.
That's something that's very common, with teens, is feeling left out, feeling like, oh, my friends are going to get closer if I'm not somewhere, right? Like they're going to develop this bond without me because I'm not at this party they're at, and they're all just going to forget about me. Like teens experience this. They have these emotions and these thoughts that like,
and it feels like it's like life or death for them in that moment.
Yeah. Right? Like if I don't go to this concert with my friends, they're going to bond over this. And
if I don't go to the
sleepover. Be left out.
Yeah.
And so I think the older you get, the more you build your like self-esteem and your self-confidence. Yeah. And just you have more.
And you just do that onto your friendships. And then you have these friends who like aren't going to be like that.
Yeah,
they don't have that thoughts going on. They're not going to drop you because you didn't say yes to going to dinner.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be understanding of the fact that why you said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So be okay with saying no and finding the things that fuel you in that moment, allow you to recharge, because it's important. It's definitely necessary.
Yeah.
We'll experience FOMO. It's inevitable.
Yeah, for sure.
In different ways. But I truly think that like with age, you experience it less and less because you just are confident in the decisions you're making and you do not regret the decisions you make, and you know that you're making them for a reason and they're coming from a place of like, this is what I need. This is what's best for me. This is what's best for the people around me. So I'm going to make that choice. And I'm okay with it. So
I love that. It's so true, and it really just the simple answer is just that it comes with age, and realizing like how precious your time is, and how precious others' time is as well. So especially like if you're gonna say yes to something and you weren't 100% to begin with, you're probably not going to have the best time.
No.
And then that's a waste of your time. And then you're going to be disappointed that you wasted your time.
And like
it's just a cycle of
People
disappointment.
know when you...
Oh, yeah. People can sense it,
It's easy to tell if someone doesn't want to be somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, you don't want to give off that energy. Like, it's really... Like, when you're having a good time and there's someone in the mix who like doesn't want to be there, it really like...
Bums you out. Like, why are you killing my vibe, bro?
Like, literally. Exactly.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. So it's just so important and crucial that you guys all like just realize that you have this control over yourself, that you owe it to yourself to be confident in what you're saying yes and no to. It could be an obligation, it could be an event, it could be like literally anything, and firmly sticking your ground and knowing what's right for you is ultimately what's going to be better for you in the outcome.
100%.
100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't have to do what everyone else is doing. And that was our quote. We hope you enjoyed this. We will catch you in our next episode. As always, stay caught up on our Instagram. You can listen or watch the episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube at QR Coded for everything. We
have some tea on our next episode. Can I say that?
Sure.
Do we have an announcement?
That sounds dramatic. Announcement.
Well, yeah, we like to be dramatic. So stick around.
Yeah, stick around. Yes, we have an announcement in our next episode. So obviously get caught up and then don't miss that one coming out, I guess, in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And as always, I'm Queen.
I'm Raquel.
And this is
QR Coded.
Thanks for watching or listening.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.